I know it's been a couple of weeks since my last upload. After I was done with the Resident Evil Village series, I kind of just wanted to take a little step back, refresh a little bit. I wasn't also quite sure what I wanted to do next. Anyway, though, tier lists, those have become something that have been pretty big on YouTube, and just overall, I think people have always loved taking a subject and ranking them based on their thoughts, and it really does open things up for interpretation. So I thought that'd be kind of a cool idea. And what better to do, because I don't think I've seen this one yet. I'm sure there's one out there, but I haven't yet to see it myself. What better to do than sports? Sports are something I'm very passionate about. It's a love of mine. I got into them kind of at a late age. I didn't really care much about them early on in like elementary school and stuff. Once I got into about 7th grade, I started caring a little bit, and then by high school, I was really into them all. So I thought this would be kind of a fun video idea to do. And so yeah, let's get started here. So first off, let's start with soccer. I will just go right ahead and delete that one because I don't respect soccer as a sport. If you do, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. If you do respect it as a sport, make your own tier list and put it in S rank. I don't really care. All right, anyway, so let's start off with some controversy here. I'm going to take golf, and I'm going to slide golf into an A rank. Yup. I just put golf in the A rank. I'll give you a second X out of the video if you really don't agree with me. All right. So if you're still here, obviously you want to hear what I have to say about golf. See, the thing that I respect so much about golf is, yeah, it's boring to watch. I understand that. It's hard to watch a round of golf because it spans over 4 days. It's basically all day long. But the thing with golf is the game is so hard. You got to keep your patience. You got to be good basically 4 days in a row, and you got to be best you can be. I was just watching golf this past weekend, and Jordan Spieth was kicking ass into the 3rd round, gets into the 4th round, and he just couldn't figure it out. Like one bad day can cost you hundreds of thousands of even millions of dollars if you're not up to par. Golf joke, up to par. God, I'm funny when I don't want to be. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a sport that people don't give the time of day to. Again, like just because it takes so long, it goes on for a whole weekend. It's kind of hard to watch. But I mean, when you really get into it, I think golf is a great sport. I think it's underappreciated. Playing is frustrating, but hey, at least you get to drink beer with it. So I wanted to start there. Next, let's move on to tennis. Tennis, I'm going to toss in here at a C rank. I've never watched tennis myself, but it's pretty fast paced. Some of the stuff that they do is pretty impressive. Obviously, you got to have really, really quick reflexes for it. I don't know. It's, like I said, not a sport that I watch, but I understand why people enjoy it. And I've tried playing it. It's kind of fun to play. I'd rather play ping pong, of course, because you need a lot less athleticism for that. But yeah, I think C rank is good for tennis. Let's move on to baseball. Now, baseball is one of those, it's a tough place to put it. God, I'm going to have to go and put it down here in the D rank. I think I do personally enjoy baseball. But it's one of those sports that it's, especially since it goes on in the summer, and from being from Minnesota, summers aren't very long. So it's hard to spend a day watching baseball, especially since the Twins suck this year. So that's another reason. Like, it's one of those things, when your team is good, you can at least pay attention. It's a good boating sport, I've realized. Like, if you're out on a pontoon or something, have it on in the background, that's fine. I just like getting into the playoff system with it too. I just think that it's just, I don't know, it's too long, A baseball game as long as it is, but having, a series of 7 and trying to find the best one, and I'll get into that with some of the other things that I talk about here regarding the other sports on the list. But I don't know, like, I think that's the main complaint about baseball. It just takes too long, and on a sunny day, who wants to be watching baseball? Being at a baseball game is fun. Taking in the experience at a stadium, paying overpriced prices for stadium beer and food, like that's fun. I really personally do enjoy that about baseball. I think that's why it's a good summer sport. You can spend a day outside watching the game itself. I think that's cool. Just kind of want to interject back with like golf. It's golf and tennis actually. The main thing about those sports is I don't know. It's hard to judge the importance of tournaments. Like, obviously in these team-based sports, it's all important because every game matters. But in these ones, some players only play for the majors, which are the big time tournaments, especially like the ones that can make it into them every year. It's like, that's what they shoot for, and then like not every tournament is as important because some people don't play in all of the tournaments. I mean, there's golf every weekend. Tennis, I don't really know exactly how that's set up, but that can be a knock on both of those sports, I guess, is that not everybody takes each tournament as seriously, because obviously you're not going to golf in every tournament here. You just get too tired that way, but just want to interject that with those sports, how the playoff systems are different. All right, next, let's jump into hockey. Now, originally, I would have either deleted hockey or put hockey down here at the F tier, but this last year, I watched a little bit of the Wild in the playoffs. Mainly, I just watched the third period, but it's a start. It's a start to me watching hockey, and I actually kind of enjoyed it. Not going to lie to you. It is fast-paced. I think what it suffers from, much like baseball and almost kind of with basketball too, is the seasons are so long. You know, they play with hockey and basketball, it's 82 games. Baseball, it's 162. 162 is completely overdoing it. I think it's too many, and I just think it just gets to be a long-winded season. And that's one of the knocks I have on hockey, I guess. But at least it's in the winter, so there's not much else to do. But I was watching this one game, I think it was between the Rangers and Capitals. Something had happened the night before with a player being down and being hit a couple extra times. So basically, as soon as the puck dropped, everybody on each team dropped the gloves and started fighting. That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen out of a sporting event, honestly. So hockey, for me, would have started at an F. I am going to put hockey right up here in the C tier because I need to be more Minnesotan and pull for hockey. All right. Next, let's go to basketball. Now, basketball, and I'll explain exactly why. Basketball, I'm going to put in the B tier, and no, not just because basketball starts with a B. That's not the reason I'm doing that. Pro basketball, I enjoy watching basketball overall. The thing I like about basketball, which is one of the knocks I have on hockey, is basketball is, hockey is fast-paced. Basketball is also fast-paced, but if someone has like a 20-point lead in basketball, that can get erased pretty fast. You almost never feel like a game is over necessarily. You know, a team can get hot, get on a shooting streak, shoot a bunch of threes. Like the other night, Damian Lillard, hit 12 threes in a game. Like, that's ridiculous. You know, willed his team back into it. They ended up losing. But still, stuff like that is exciting to me. And I think that's something that, for sure, baseball is lacking. And hockey, a little bit too, because if a team's up 3-0, it's hard to come back from that. There's momentum and momentum swings, but I just feel like it's less likely to happen in a sport like hockey. Basketball, the thing that brings it, I say, from either a mid, in between C and D or a C up to a B tier is college, because their playoff system is huge. It's got a whole month dedicated to it, and that's why, and I'll get into this with football. In the pros, like in a 7-game series, for the most part, who's going to win. Maybe once it gets later on, it's a little bit different. But that first series, when it's an 8 seed versus a 1 seed, like, you can't tell me that an 8 seed, unless like this year with the Lakers, they're not a real 8 seed, let's be honest. But unless like an 8 seed is going to beat a 1 seed, like 4 out of 7 games, it's not going to happen. And that's the kind of the boring part. Is in the pros, they make these super teams, and it gets a little old. Like, you never feel like your team is really going to be like competitive per se. Like, competitive for them might be making the playoffs as like a 5 seed just to make it through the first round maybe and then get beat. So, but the college basketball system, you start off with all these teams, you're one and done. That's why I think a lot of those 1-2 seeds fall to those lower seeds, is because they're not, we went undefeated this year. We only lost 1 game, yada, yada, yada. And they go into the game disrespecting their opponents. And I just think that's where that gets exciting, is because a team, like, it's one and done. There's no tomorrow if you don't know what you're doing, and if you don't give it your all every night. And I think that's really cool. And obviously, like I said, March Madness is a huge event. People filling out brackets, and I just think the college system brings basketball up to a new height, just because of that. Like, it is win or go home, and I think that's really, really cool. Which brings us to football. If I could find a double S tier, you know what? Just because football is the only one, I'm gonna make a double S tier if I can. Yeah, there we go. Caps lock, where are you? There you are. Perfect. Football goes right into the double S tier. Football is there. I can't even say enough good things about football. It's exciting. It's fast paced. Obviously, people hitting each other is always fun to watch. There's nothing more pretty than, Tom Brady throwing just a rainbow ball, just dropping it right in the bucket of Chris Godwin or Mike Evans or Gronk or whoever. It's just, God, I love football. Everything about football is amazing. The playoffs, much as I talked about with college basketball, it's that win or go home mentality. It's and there's 16 games. So we've seen it in basketball and in baseball to where, every game matters because you can rarely end up having a same record as somebody else and have to do like a play-in game. And basketball implemented like a play-in system this year. But you just don't feel like if someone loses a baseball game or a basketball game, you don't see like that disappointment, like they're like, oh, there's always tomorrow. We have 80 some more games to play. In football, every game just feels so much more important when there's only 16, well, now 17. But every game just feels like you got to put in that little bit of extra effort, And if you're not bringing your best, you're going to lose. And that one loss can cost you the playoffs. And it's just, it's so great, Like I love that because you have to bring your best day in, day out. And then college football, when they, the bowl system, the bowl games are big. A lot of them aren't that important or fun to watch, but it's something that spans weeks, And the college football system, the playoff system has changed in the last few years. It used to be like the one, which was kind of boring, the 1 and 2 seed, which are basically the two best teams, undefeated, one loss, whatever. Those are the two that made the dance just because that's where they were. Where this one, there's actually like a separate system that picks the playoff teams. And sure, it's flawed because you have a lot of good teams, a lot of people with similar records, and you're just trying to pick the best four. People have talked about expanding that. I don't really know if you could, because then you're dealing with way too many games and pushing these games way, way out. And it's difficult, I think, to expand it past 4 teams. Maybe they'll try it someday down the road here. But overall, I think their playoff system's cool. I think it works much better than just having those best 2 teams make it every year. What else? I don't know. I think I've said all good things I can say about football. I just think overall, and don't care if you have any arguments, the viewership proves it. The money that they're able to spend on these TV deals and salary caps and stuff proves it. It's great. There is no beating football. It is that double S tier. And that is all I have for you today. Those are the main sports I wanted to focus on. Let me know down in the comments what you think of my tier list, what you would have moved, where you would put things. I'm sure I'll get some complaints and arguments, but in the end, I really don't care. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe button for more content down the road, and I'll see you guys in the next one.